Hey, and we are live for the UFC 209 six-round post-fight show. This is Zane Simon from Bloody Elbow, joined by Eddie Mercado. Nate is off on one of his week-long benders. We have not been able to track him down, so Eddie's stepping in on short notice to break down this UFC 209 card, which he is, having just watched it, he is really psyched about, and I think about probably a lot more psyched than just about anybody right now.
Yeah, man, I thought this was a phenomenal card considering we lost Ferguson and Habib. I mean, I was really going into this with no expectations. Like, in fact, I was like, really did not want to buy this pay-per-view, to be honest. Like, I really was like, fuck, damn that kid Nate. He conned me into this. He knew all along, right? But it severely did way better than I could have ever imagined. I mean, it had comebacks. It had the MMA Rudy and Dan Kelly getting a win over a former champion. Controversial main event in the headliner. I mean, it kind of had a little bit of everything. So I thought it was way better than it should have been.
It did have a little bit of everything. The comebacks were on the prelims. This was a card going in that, like, I really liked this card top to bottom going in. So even when it lost Khabib versus Ferguson, it was still like it still was going to be the best card the UFC on paper the UFC put on this year to date. Their cards so far this year have been bad.
Bad that's a friendly word you're using. I like your euphemism.
Yeah. So it was still going to be like, well, I'm still ready for a fun card, but the main card, like, people were expecting Khabib versus Ferguson, and they were expecting Woodley to Thompson to be more like the first fight, where it was like not the world's best fight, but it was still a pretty like fun fight. Every round had something back and forth, really winning rounds. The first two rounds of that just was a real momentum killer. Like, it sucks because Tamer Venata was such an awesome fight. I think it's just being sandwiched against Rashad Evans looking terrible, and then those two rounds of, well, honestly, like 4 rounds. I mean, a takedown and a little ground and pound and a partially landed head kick through 4 rounds do not exactly make for an action-packed main card fight.
No, it's true. It's true. I guess we should probably tell everyone who won.
Sure, yeah. Well, we'll start at the top and work backwards. So Tyron Woodley is still welterweight champion. If anybody won that fight, it probably wasn't Tyron Woodley. Really happy that he is champ still, because Dana White just seems to hate him, and that makes me really happy.
Yeah, I definitely scored it for Wonder Boy. I had it 48-47 for him. I gave Wonder Boy the first 2 rounds, and I gave him the 3rd round. Woodley, I gave him the 3rd and obviously the final round.
Yeah, I would have actually scored it a draw just because I also want that chaos. 2 draws. Give Woodley that 10-8 in that 3rd round, and just, why not? For the hell of it. But if you were scoring the way most fights get scored, anyway, other than Stephen Thompson 48-47, didn't. And in the first 2 rounds, they literally landed the exact same number of significant strikes. So the only thing you're scoring for is hate cage control. It's the shittiest metric. Like,
yeah.
You're really going to give Thompson rounds just because he's forward? That doesn't make sense. So
yeah, the whole aggression thing is subjective, really.
It is. I'm happy that Woodley is still champion, because it seems like it's the last thing in the world UFC brass want. And honestly, if I'm really being truthful, like, pride rules, Woodley wins that fight. Stephen Thompson, if he wanted to win that fight that badly, he should have actually done something that showed up on a judge's scorecard.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he executed a perfect game plan. I mean, absolutely perfect. He came out, he backed Woodley up to the cage. He was measuring him perfectly, but just really couldn't land any significant strikes. Like he just couldn't do it. He was
Yeah.
like they were both afraid to pull the trigger.
They were both afraid to pull the trigger. And if you think of like what was the biggest moment for Stephen Thompson in that fight, it was probably him landing a partially blocked head kick.
Honestly, it was probably his body crosses, which I mean, who's really counting that?
Yeah. I think Thompson should have won it by the metrics, but he didn't do anything. Like I'm not going to feel sorry for him, you know.
No, at no point was he close to finishing the fight.
Did he ever hurt Woodley? At no point did he ever do anything that of any significance. He just chipped away with a few small shots per round, and it is what it is. In the co-main event, though, David Tamor and Lando Venata, that was a hell of a good fight.
That was fun. I knew it was going to be fun going in. Two guys who were both bangers who really like to mix it up, but in a very different way. Very different way. Venata, man, you ever seen that movie with Vin Diesel called Chronicles of Riddick?
I have not seen. I've seen Pitch Black. I have not then dived into the rest.
Chronicles of Riddick is way better than Pitch Black. Pitch Black was just weird. But anyways, there's this what's called an elemental, and like this lady just kind of glides across the floor, and that's like Venata, man. He's just like this super, just smooth, like he's out there boogieing, you know, getting down with the Bee Gees. But then like a spinning heel kick comes whipping across your face. He's fun, but I just feel like he needs a couple jabs in his arsenal, you know?
Yeah, I mean this was. I actually kind of thought he won the second round. The first two rounds were really close. Tamor by fight metric landed a few more significant strikes per round, like 6.
Yeah.
In the first two rounds, and actually the third round somehow was the closest they had it. But I thought Tamor like worked Venata in that round pretty clearly.
Yeah, he definitely ran away with it there at the end.
Yeah, so I thought Venata might have won it, but more than that, I really did think this showed that while he's got a really cool, natural, funky rhythm for fighting that's going to be hard for a lot of guys to figure out, he doesn't have a deep enough toolkit yet. His game is still raw. He's not been fighting that long, and when he was faced with somebody who was really technical, around David Tamor's technical style, like to come at you with this like really nuts and bolts, strong, technical, basic Muay Thai power game, and it didn't seem like Venata had actually worked on fighting around that style. And as the fight went on, he wasn't able. You know, Tamor adjusted to him, and Venata did not adjust to Tamor at all.
Yeah, and Venata was really getting caught with his pants down. Like he would leap in, land one strike, and then just kind of stand there and get clipped with 2 or 3. And that started to build up as the fight went on. And another thing was Tamor, man, whenever they got in close, he was launching those knees to the body. I mean, those were vicious, and they were taking a toll. And then he started throwing punches at the end of that. And, I mean, he really did run away with the fight. I thought he looked really, really good. And he even started working.
Yeah, by the time the third round came, he was awesome.
He was working his takedowns in the third. I thought that was perfect, like perfect. Very smart.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Tamor can do building on that. I mean, this is a really a great performance to highlight the sound technical basis he has for his game. Like, you actually do have to kind of come correct with David Tamor, otherwise he'll be there and he'll be throwing heat. And, you know, Venata's great at no-selling shots. He bullshitted his way through a lot of power strikes in that fight, but he was getting hit with the kind of stuff that the judges aren't going to ignore. You know, they're not going to let him be Ben Henderson out there and be like, oh, yeah, no, maybe you didn't get hit with that knee. I don't know. When somebody's crushing you with 3 body knees, judges tend to be like, okay, yeah, I saw that.
That was that's an excellent comparison. He's got that Ben Henderson. Yeah, he didn't hit me. No, I was doing the shoulder roll, bro.
Yeah.
It was a fun fight, though, man. Maybe even, well, it can't be fight of the night, but it was definitely fun.
Yeah, it was a really fun fight. I loved it. I was, you know, I loved seeing it. Great performance from Tamor, and for Venata, it's a loss, but it's something to build on. It's something that his camp should be taken, you know, looking at and saying, look, you actually have to improve these technical aspects of your game. You can't just go out there and
B-Cup Swanson.
you can't show people, you can't just show fans that you're being dominant. You actually have to show your opponent that you can do things to them.
Oh man, did you see when he like caught the kick and threw a spinning wheel kick off of that, or a spinning heel kick? Oh my god! And it landed.
It was some pretty shit.
Jesus.
He's got some lovely parts to his game that are going to evolve really well. It just needs time.
He's young. He's
so
only
before
24.
Yeah, he's got lots of time. Before that, we had Daniel Kelly versus Rashad Evans in a middleweight bout. I kind of also feel like Rashad may have actually kind of squeaked this fight away, taking like the first and third round. But he did not look like he had, like he didn't actually fight to win this fight. So I'm not really at all.
I actually I gave Kelly the second and the third. I feel like he was landing the better strikes in the second, and I feel like the strikes were kind of even in the third, just watching it live. So Kelly had the pressure. So
yeah, that's. I mean, I'm not going to argue with Kelly winning. I'm really happy he won because I have a fight that's basically even, and it ended in a split decision. I would much rather see the guy who is trying way harder than it seems like he should be able to. I'd rather see that dude get the win than the crafty, more athletic, more faster, harder hitting veteran who's just kind of letting the fight drift away from him.
Yeah,
so.
And how can you not root for Dan Kelly? I had a buddy texted me. He was like, "Dude, Robert Redford just beat Rashad Evans." I'm like, oh man, that's accurate. That's good.
Yeah, and Kelly continues to show that he's got just a great knack for fighting. Like his stuff is still sloppy. He still looks off balance half the time. His shots look devoid of technique when he's out there throwing hands, but he's got timing down perfectly. Like he knows exactly when he needs to throw to land a shot. And Evans just looked like that was a total shock to him. It was like, oh, this guy's actually not going to go away when I hit him. He knows when I'm open to be hit. That's way too much for me.
And it's like, how do you prepare for Dan Kelly? It's like you're like naturally you're going to sleep on the guy, right? Like
you have to just get drunk and go pick fights at softball games.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely has that dad bod. It looks like a softball game gone awry. But I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I love when these guys who aren't your stereotypical fighter type, like just going to town on people, and it's all effort. Like I love that. I love when I see hard work, trump talent. That's like.
Yeah, it definitely. And Evans, I mean, I don't know. This is a weird thing because I don't know if he wants to retire, and he's just, he's in a weird place. He just lost to he just absolutely picked up the worst loss of his career without question in terms of actual athletic name value ranking disparity. This is
I don't know
the worst point of his career.
I don't know where he goes from here. Does he keep fighting at 185? I mean, who is he going to be, like a gatekeeper that just keeps letting people in? I mean, I love Rashad. I love Rashad. Like when he knocked out Chuck Liddell, like, wow, right? I think his time has just passed, and he's such a great athlete that he can just still hang around.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still think there's like some sense in an Anderson Silva fight or something like that, but it's not because I really want to see them fight at this point. It's just like, well, they're two old dudes who probably won't hurt each other that bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's real. And we're going to start seeing that. Like the more the sport progresses, we're just going to start seeing these former champions or guys that have been around forever that are just kind of too far past their prime to fight top guys, but they still have enough name value and they still have somewhat enough ability to fight some people of the same caliber.
Well, and especially in the WME IMG era where they really are starved for any draw that they can get. If Anderson Silva wants to be out there fighting, they're going to give him a platform to fight because they need somebody who can pull in fans.
Speaking of that, I know everyone saw Roy Jones Jr. sitting ringside tonight, or cage side, octagon side.
We're talking Anderson, Roy Jones, co-maining McGregor, Mayweather, right?
Actually, I could see the UFC trying to get that on before the Mayweather McGregor thing.
Just there you go.
Get in first.
There you go. Maybe let Amir Khan in there too. See if they can't get him.
But where does Dan Kelly go from here?
I mean, he's got to fight another rank. He's got to fight a ranked dude. Whether it's somebody like Krzysztof Yatko or I don't know if he would want to fight fellow countryman Robert Whitaker or even Derek Brunson, something like that. Like, you got to just keep pushing him. If he's going to keep winning fights, you keep pushing him, see how far he can go.
Let's give him Tim Boetsch.
I do want the Dan Kelly Tim Boetsch dad bod fight, but Boetsch is also coming off a loss, so I don't know.
Yeah, this is true too. I don't know. It's so hard to match him up. Like, honestly, I don't pick him to beat anybody. So
well, no, and that's the fun. Like Dan Kelly, you should never pick Dan Kelly. He should always be the underdog, and when he wins, you'll never feel happier.
Yeah.
You're like, I didn't think he could do it, and it's amazing every time.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I for the betting odds for UFC 209, I actually put him as my suggestion, Dan Kelly. And
Rashad is not trustworthy anymore.
Just solely based off of Kelly being the consummate underdog that overachieves. And I think Rashad's last win was like 2012 or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's been a while. So let's go down then to a strawweight bout. Cynthia Calvillo against Amanda Bobby Cooper. Strong debut for Calvillo. She's got a good wrestling grappling game. I like what she, that kind of thing alone, I think, can take her pretty far in the women's strawweight division.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought Cooper was going to put up a lot better fight. Cooper's been impressing me lately, but man, Calvillo came out and just made a statement. Team alpha male chick, moves to 4-0. And what I liked the most was the how she locked up the anaconda. She went for the roll, knew she wasn't going to get it, transitioned from anaconda to the back to the rear naked choke. I mean, that was some phenomenal change.
I actually think she baited Cooper to shoot on her just so she could go for the roll. And just so she could go for the roll through and follow up with the Anaconda series and because Cooper was trying to get her to go into guard. And I think she, and so when Calvillo stood out and then like acted like she was going to throw a couple punches so Cooper would shoot in on her, it meant that Cooper gave up guard and let Calvillo scramble on her. It was pretty tight.
I think she looked great. And I also really like her head movement. I mean, yeah, for someone so young in her career, it's really insane.
Yeah, she moves defensively really well. She still has problems when she's actually throwing, but she did look better in her striking offense this fight. Like, she actually committed to a lot more strikes. So it was just a good showing overall. Before that, Alistair Overeem knocked out Mark Hunt. I am saddened by this. This is not what I want. Overeem looked great, though. So, I mean, there's always that.
I never like seeing Mark Hunt get knocked out. I don't like seeing my heroes get knocked out. But, man, that was a cold knockout. I mean, Mark Hunt did the face plant, like the scary head bounce face plant. And Overeem fought so smart, man. So smart, calculated. Didn't take big risks. When he felt pressured, I mean, I don't like seeing it. A lot of people don't like seeing it, but he hightailed. He was like, fuck this. I'm out. I'm running. I'm not going to stand here and trade with Mark Hunt. And like, that's such an improvement from, his egotistical, I'm the big man on the block. You want to throw, we're going to throw. So, man, good on Alistair. Man, those knees he was landing were just so savage. So savage.
Great performance from him, and it keeps him right at the top of the division where, any one or two fights can get him a title shot at the top of heavyweight. Even though he's already lost to Stipe, he almost won that fight, and challengers are thin on the ground up there, Very thin, very thin.
Yeah, you got JDS floating around. Even Francis Ngannou, I wouldn't even be against it. I know Ngannou's young, but
maybe we get Derek Lewis versus Overeem as a title contender match.
Wow. Oh man, that just gave me tingles.
Yeah.
What did you think of that one?
All that sex he's been having when he's recovered.
Who would you just off the top? Just who would you take in that one?
Man, I want to take Derek Lewis, and he might win it, but the way he looked against Travis Brown, like, it wouldn't have taken much more than Brown had to offer to beat Derek Lewis.
Yeah,
That's a hard one. Like, I'm exactly as torn as I am about. Like, I thought Mark Hunt would beat Overeem, and Lewis doesn't have the technique of Mark Hunt, but he hits just as hard. And
true. But I honestly, I'd take Overeem. I think
I would take Overeem right now, but if I would be 0% surprised if Derek Lewis knocked Overeem like way out,
like into retirement out.
Yeah. So before that, we got another heavyweight fight on the closer of the FS1 prelims. Marcin Tybura defeated Luis Henrique Barbosa de Oliveira. Not a great fight for the first round and a half or so, but good close as Enrique started to slow down late.
Yeah, and another thing, I mean, it followed the Darren Elkins Bektic fight, so that's a tough act to follow. Let alone two like big ass heavyweights just kind of plodding around the ring. But Tybura showed up, man. He was in some bad positions, and he worked out of them, and he stayed on it. And man, when he got that when he took the back of Enrique, Jesus Christ, he went right to full mount and just the hammer fist.
Yeah, Tybura's he's a better athlete than he looks like he is, and he's got a slick, nicely well-rounded game. The only thing I'm worried about is that he really showed in this fight that he cannot strike without plodding straight into the clinch. Like, he would just, he would throw one or two punches and then walk right into Enrique's arms for Enrique to wrestle him, and that is against other better fighters that could cost him. But heavyweight's not exactly full of great wrestlers. So still, it was a fun win, solid fight, not bad, but came, as you said, on the heels of this Darren Elkins Mirsad Bektic fight at featherweight, and hype train derailed.
Ooh, is it derailed? I wouldn't say derailed. That's a little harsh. He learned a lesson, right?
He learned a lesson, but he also did lose to Darren Elkins. How many championship fighters lose to Darren Elkins?
Man, that's not even fair. How many championship fighters are 11-0 or 12-0? You know what I mean? He's so young.
I'm just saying that, it's one of those fights that is both. You're right. I'm not writing Mirsad Bektic off. He's a superb athlete and a great power wrestler and a great grappler, or good grappler, and he's got some good striking and fast hands. All the pieces are there. But, if we're talking about a dude as a future amazing, all-time great kind of prospect, this has to take him down a notch. It has to.
For sure. Absolutely. I mean, losing to Darren Elkins is not something you want on your resume, right? Like, Darren Elkins is not a world beater. Like, there's a good 99% chance he's not going to be champion ever, or close to it, or in a title fight or anything.
This is the third finish of Darren Elkins' UFC career, and the first one was due to injury.
Yeah. Man, you know what though? The ref probably could have stopped the fight in that one. I felt like Elkins was taking a fucking beating, man, and his face was an absolute mess. I mean, they don't call him the Damage for no reason. And it's funny too, because I'm watching Bektic and I'm like, does this guy have a nickname? We should call him All Business. The All Business Bektic from Bosnia. Like, he was just really doing his damn thing. That first round was a 10-8. Like, even with the old scoring system.
It was 10-8. 10-8 clear. Absolutely.
So, I mean, he looked great. It's like, as a prospect, like, he came out and did exactly what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Even the second round, I had a 10-9 for Bektic. I mean, when he got that wrestling ride, it's Elkins was in a world of trouble. And I don't know how he survived, aside from him being the toughest person in the world. you know? Wow. But that finish though, Elkins, right? Jesus fucking Christ. He seriously head kicked somebody. Like he got a knockout from a head kick. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Jesus.
And it's just Bektic, for him, the lesson has got to be like, they were talking about it, like in these wrestling, he was doing a bunch of damage when he was on top wrestling, but as the fight went on, those scrambles were getting harder and harder on him. He was starting to lose them. He was starting to give up a lot of positions. Elkins was fighting back a lot better. It's just like, maybe you should stay standing. Like, Bektic is clearly outstriking Elkins at every moment. He didn't have to wrestle to win that fight. And then he could not imagine fighting without wrestling.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was just built into him, or was he like trying to make a point by trying to grind on the grinder? Like,
no, I think it's just absolutely a comfort thing. He cannot imagine. He can't fight with it. Like, that's his comfort zone. Is I throw a couple strikes, I get in, I shoot a takedown. I don't strike for a round. I'm not going to be out there on the outside throwing. And he's got to learn to change that up. Like, he's got to learn to be able to be diverse enough to do that, because he's got the speed and power to do it. There's no reason he can't strike with somebody for a round.
Yeah, I mean, he really landed some good shots there in the third.
Yeah.
But man, Elkins just, he went for, I think, a leg lock and transitioned to the wrestle ride. He let him up and like stuck him, like rocked him, head kick, and it was a wrap. I couldn't believe it. Like, I could not believe my eyes when it happened.
No, it was amazing.
Did you see that gash on Elkins's head? Holy shit. I cannot believe they let that go.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, that was huge. It looked like someone hit him with an axe. Like, it was bad.
Oh, man, it's a classic, all-time classic, great comeback. And Elkins too. I mean, I love, he's out there screaming his head off after the fight.
Yeah, emotional. You feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man, this dude just got the dog shit kicked out of him. He hung tough, came back and won. That's why I watch this sport.
Yeah, it was an all-time great fight. And right before that, Yuri Alcantara, Luke Sanders, and man, Alcantara was fighting Sanders early in that fight. Like, Sanders could never beat him. Like, it's just like, I'm just gonna walk in and throw a huge loop and overhand and run at you and go for a big sloppy takedown because I can do whatever I want. And Sanders beat the piss out of him for it.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, wrestle ride, fucking 50 unanswered strikes. And I was like, hey, the referee could probably step in right now and call it. I'm okay with that. But he let him keep fighting. Great refereeing in that fight also.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, Alcantara, he was responding to the referee when the referee was telling him he needed to do something. He was getting hit a lot, but he was moving. He was trying to do something. He was still...
He was even, like, elbowing.
Yeah.
I hate seeing that.
I know.
But Sanders got a point taken away for the illegal knee landed to a downed Alcantara, right?
Yep.
And then later on, he, like, kneed him in the balls and then kneed him in the head on the ground again, like right in front of the referee. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you doing, ref? Like, you were doing so awesome, and now you're, like, not doing your job. Like, it was wild.
Yeah, Sanders might have some control issues there.
Yeah, like, definitely on some, like, David Rickles kind of savagery, not thinking, just like, hey, I'm in a fight. The head's there.
I see the opportunity. I take the opportunity. I don't care. I see your head's right there. My knee's right here. I can hit your head with my knee. I'm going to do that.
It's like he was negotiating with himself the whole time. Like, okay, I'm kind of running out of places to hit. I know the knee's right there. And it kind of just happened. But what a fight. What a comeback. Yeah. Alcantara, man, defied the odds. He was getting fucked up. Bottom of the wrestle ride, rolls for a leg lock.
Yeah.
Rolls around a little bit, locks up the knee bar, gets the tap. I was surprised. I was jumping up and down.
I mean, Luke Sanders was shocked. I think he saw Alcantara going for the knee bar. I was like, whatever, I don't need to worry about that. That's, that's some bullshit that I'll get through. And then half a second later, he's like, okay, I got tap.
Yeah, it's like, I want a future in this sport. Let me tap and get out of this. Wow. What a comeback, man.
Amazing fight. For that, Mark Godbeer, Daniel Spitz, that fight definitely happened.
Man, it was I was watching it with some people and they're not really UFC fans or MMA fans, and they were just like, what's going on right here? And I was just like so full of disclaimers, you know what I mean? Like, oh no, this is his debut, and like this guy right here, it's kind of like a test. He probably shouldn't be here, but like they're seeing, and it was bad. I just shut up. I was like, hopefully the rest will be good. And this is when I'm still bummed out because I'm thinking the card's gonna suck because the Ferguson Habib fight got canceled. But man, that fight happened. It was so sloppy.
Yeah, less said about it, the better. Before that, on the prelim card, closing out the Fight Pass prelims, Tyson Pedro beat Paul Craig, put the elbows on him. Man, Tyson Pedro took a huge leap forward. Apparently, he's been spending some time at Jackson Wink in prep for this, and it just looked like my biggest concern with Pedro in the past has been that he's got this wrestling game, this power wrestling game, a top grappling game, and a power boxing game, and they all just kind of felt like totally disconnected. Like he's either only boxing, or he's shooting a huge takedown, or he's working his jiu-jitsu, and it's never in connection with each other.
Yeah.
And it feels like the time at Jackson Wink has just married all those parts, because he looked absolutely brutal in this fight.
Yeah.
Took it to Craig in all the transition spaces when they were clinched up. He had knees. The moment it hit the ground, he was right into crucifix. Just beautiful stuff.
Man, he looked a lot more powerful, a lot more strong, just bigger. I don't know if Craig maybe wants to consider a 185 run, but he just seemed to not be able to get the respect of Pedro whatsoever. Like his strikes were just not effective in the least bit. And I like Craig. I really do. I think his accent is phenomenal. But I think he's an interesting story. He's a school teacher. You know what I mean? I love cage fighting, so that's kind of cool. But he got ran over tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'4". I don't know that he could make middleweight. He looks pretty. He's like pretty drawn out at 205. Not, and I got into this with somebody on Twitter who was trying to explain to me how I don't know what I'm looking at, because that's always what happens on Twitter. And I was saying that Paul Craig's just not the most athletic dude in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
He's big and he's tough and he's got a ton of confidence. But even watching him regionally, like a lot of his wins have been catching people out from the guard, which I thought he would do in this fight. I thought that Pedro's being green would let Craig catch him out, but I expected Pedro to be the better, smoother, faster athlete out there. And Craig started out, he looked fast, but when it got into the clinch, there was a huge strength disparity. And I think he can still win fights, but he's got a lot of tuning to do, because being a guard grappler who is a very static, upright, not movement-heavy boxer,
very upright,
is just, he leaves a lot of opportunities for people to hit him, and he depends a lot on being tough.
And 205 hits, they hit way too hard.
Yeah.
Way too hard.
So I think he's just got to make adjustments if he's going to fight at this level. He can. He's tough. He's not, it's not like he doesn't have the, I think he's got the right mentality. I think he's got the right toughness. I think he's not, Anthony Perosh was athletic enough to win at 205 sometimes. It's not like Paul Craig can't make adjustments and get it done. But
he knocked out Vinny Magalesh, right?
Yeah. He's got to figure out other things than what he's doing. That gym they have up in Scotland with him and Mark Godbeer and whoever else just may not be producing the most complete MMA game plan.
Yeah, and he really needs to add some venom to his strikes. Like he has to get the respect of his opponents, or he's going to get ran over. They're just going to steamroll him.
Yep. And then we have the opening of the card: Albert Morales, Andre Sukumta. Fun back and forth fight. I kind of thought that Sukumta kind of took it for me, maybe, but it's a good fight, really fun. Morales showed up and was more patient, worked a little bit, a little more patient than he has in the past, which is good to see. But I also think Like, I think he also gave away a little more of that fight early than he had to by respecting Sukumta too much. So
I actually missed the first round. I came in like right at the tail of it. But I gave the second to Morales, and I gave the third to Morales also. But third was close, man. Sukuta was really like digging with that left hook to the body.
yep.
I mean, he was really coming alive to start that third round.
I
Really
love
good.
the way Sukumta fights late, and I always had like watching his regional fights. I really have always liked the way he fights late in fights. But he went for that trash takedown and just gave up his back. I actually still thought he lost the round giving up his back because Morales did nothing with back control. He just sat there while Sukumta threw funky punches at him over his shoulder. But you can't, when you give up your back like that, you can't really expect that the judges are going to necessarily reward you for that. So, it was a solid performance from Morales, solid performance from Sukumta, but both guys have things they need to fix. Still, fun fight to start the card, and it was a card that started with a lot of really strong fight. I mean, it wasn't a bad card throughout. It's too bad that losing the co-main event, I think it made the main event lackluster. The majority of it being really lackluster, really sting.
And plus, the main event was a dud.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It really, it was like, what's the opposite of the icing on the cake? You know what I mean? That's what that was. And I never want to see that fight again. I don't want them to fight a third time. Please, no.
I'm probably. I really wanted to make them have to put it on again, just for the pure torture of Dana White having to go through like 2 months leading up to that fight, talking to Tyron Woodley through the media about Tyron saying what a big draw he is, and Dana White having to be like, "Dude, you are not doing anything for me, and I have to keep making this fight."
What's next for Woodley, though? Where does he go from here?
I mean, Damian Maia got booked, so
yeah, he's fighting Masvidal.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Woodley's just gonna sit around and wait for the winner of that, or for the winner of Bisping. Well, GSP Bisping's even like that's still theoretical right now, so we don't know exactly what date that's going on. Or did they announce a date for that earlier today?
If they did, I don't know.
Oh, well, whatever. No matter what, that's a ways off. I don't know. I mean, Woodley's kind of in a position where it's either wait or nothing. Like, he's just got to wait. Like,
he's either has to wait, maybe like a chance fight with Nick Diaz, or maybe something. Maybe like someone further down the line. You got like.
I don't think Nick Diaz would fight Tyron Woodley at this point.
Nah.
No.
I mean, if the money was right, I'm sure he'd fight anybody.
Yeah, but the money is so big that the UFC would never pay it to put Tyron Woodley on a card.
Yeah, yeah. You got stun guns out there. Neil Magny's out there, but then you're taking people outside of the top 5. And it's like, you can't have those guys fighting for the title.
Yeah.
Well, and who does Thompson fight next?
I mean, Thompson. I think he's just anybody else. Honestly, like his run to the top is now a lot dotted with people that aren't at the top anymore. You got Rory McDonald is off to Bellator. Johnny Hendricks is up at 185. Jake Ellenberger is still in the top 15, but really
he's about to fight Mike Perry.
Yeah. And Cote Whitaker is up at 185. So pretty much anybody in the top 5, top 10 of welterweight right now has not fought Wonderboy,
How about Donald Cowboy Cerrone?
Would love to see that fight.
Wow. Can we make that happen?
Yeah, why not? Why not Cerrone Wonderboy? That'd be awesome. I'm 100% down for it. So
I guess the loser of Maia Masvidal makes sense as well.
Sure. Yeah, like I say, anybody in the top 10 and win or lose even, Thompson, they can keep putting Thompson out there and my only hope is that he's not turning into a complete kind of technical black hole.
Paralysis by analysis kind of thing.
Like his fight with Wonder Boy or with Rory McDonald sucked a lot. That was not a good fight. His fight with Woodley.
But Rory was like doing those Imanari rolls, and like McDonald didn't really show up for that.
Like, you know, his first fight with Woodley wasn't bad, but this one, I don't want to watch Wonder Boy throw 10 strikes around and try and win off those 10 strikes.
But I think this was Wonder Boy trying to execute a game plan. This was Wonder Boy trying to make adjustments, go into a fight with someone he drew with, and trying to make the necessary adjustments to get the win. And like, he did the right things to set himself up to be in a position to get the win, but he never really came down with those definitive moments that say, yeah, you clearly beat this man.
Yeah, and without that, he's not the most thrilling fighter to watch. That's the thing, is that if he's watching him set up being really good is not the same as watching him be really good, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like he has to be in fights where guys are willing to strike with him. Like, if guys are being passive, or if they're shooting in on him, it's going to be kind of like one of those fights. He's just going to be super, like, in his shell, super conservative, playing it safe.
Yep. So hopefully, you know, and with the reputation he's getting, it may be hard to find dudes that want to strike with him at this point.
Yeah, no shit. Probably Cowboy might be the only guy.
Masvidal you know, stun gun would be fun because you get crazy stun gun.
I like that, yeah.
You get Warboy stun gun going out there, filling his mouth full of chrome spray paint. But all right,
I'm a stun gun fan, man. Yeah.
On that note, I think it's time for us to wrap this up before we go on all night about the cool parts of this card and not the less cool parts of this card. You can find me on Twitter at TheseAnytime. You can find Eddie on Twitter at TheEddieMercati. You can find both of us over at BloodyElbow.com and our various roles. Give this video a thumbs up over on YouTube. That liking it helps us a lot. Gives us what we need. It certainly helps reaffirm my dead-end life that is entirely based off YouTube views. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMANation.com. That's DOTCOM. That's where you get all the rest of our Bloody Elbow shows, interviews, analysis, all that good stuff. We'll be back next week for UFC Fight Night Fortaleza, Belfort versus Gastelum, and we'll have the Care Don't Care If I Did It, Knuckle Up, Vivisection, Heavy Hands, all that stuff going on for that fight. So everybody tune in next week, and we will see you then.